Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please excuse me if I'm a bit quiet, but it is rather late again, and I am trying not to wake anyone. I'm literally in my PJs, drinking my tea, not doing anything. I was working on assignments, and I was like, I've had enough of this. I'm just gonna and I thought, why not do a video right now? It's currently Monday when I'm filming this, so I'm a little exhausted, but that's to be expected. And if any of you saw my previous channel, you know that it was a lot of tags, a lot of challenges, and a lot of mess. It was a big old mess. So, I thought I'd hop on the just started train and do my 13 Witchy Firsts Tag. Excuse me. I just watched Chris Ashburn's, and I watched a couple of other ones before that, and I thought they looked really fun, and reminiscing on things is great most of the time. Okay, first question is basically, how did you first encounter witchcraft and paganism and Wicca or whatever spiritual path you're on? When I first encountered the actual thing, like I said in my 16 Witchy Questions video, I was 10, and I found a book that it literally had no cover on it, so I can't remember when you open the book there's like the title page, and I can't remember what the title page said, but it was basically a book on just paganism, but not in the perspective that I know it right now. It was basically just a book on that, and it had information about the different branches of paganism and how it all worked. I thought that was really neat. And then of course the Witchcraft for Dummies book. The first time I came across a person was my cousin. She's the only other open witch in the family, and she's really great, and so she was my first witchy encounter with a person. She is, I believe, 36 now, so at that time she was 26, and I was like, wow, that's so cool, that's what I am, okay, great. Also, my mom is super spiritual. She's not a witch, she's not pagan, she's not any of that. She's agnostic, but she's a very spiritual person, and she believes in energy and all that good stuff. So the second question is, what is the first book that you ever got on the subject? And the first book that I consciously bought was Celtic Magic by DJ Conway. I love DJ Conway. I think the writing is amazing, and I got that book because I knew that I wanted to be on the Celtic path, and that was my first book. It was, for a beginner, it was pretty easy to follow. Well, not easy, I wouldn't say, because this isn't exactly the easiest thing, but it was a little too structured for me, and there were things I would be like, oh yeah, that works, and then there'd be things where I would be like, oh no, I don't like how that is. I'm gonna change that in my brain, but I guess that's how the whole practice works. So yeah, DJ Conway's Celtic Magic. If you want to go back even further to a book that I had from my childhood that I got, it's basically just a Greek mythology book. I don't follow the Greek pantheon. I thought I was going to, but I ended up going way up there, and I ended up going in a different direction, and it's basically just a book on the Greek pagan culture. First crystal. What was your first crystal? My first crystal was a It was a necklace and a bracelet, both with black onyx on it. I love black onyx so much. I use it all the time. I've got like 3 necklaces with black onyx. I've got a ring with black onyx. I've got so much black onyx going on in my life because it's my absolute favorite crystal. I know I said clear quartz was, but no. I thought about it. Black onyx takes the cake. It's so great. And the necklace I still have. It's just a little beaded black onyx necklace. The clasp broke, so I keep it in a little bag that I carry with me everywhere, and anytime I need it, I just kind of reach in the bag and hold it. What was the first deity you ever encountered or tried to work with? I think I mentioned this as well in my 16 Witchy Questions video. It was Breed, or Brigid, or Bridget, or however you want to say it. She was the first one that I went to her and she kind of accepted me. She was the very first one that I encountered goddess-wise. God-wise? I think it was Kernunos. And I just have stuck with that because I haven't worked with that aspect of things yet. When did you first meet other pagans? The internet helped out a lot with that, but if you're talking about in person, the first other pagan I met was my cousin, and outside of that, outside of my cousin, I think it was a shop owner. I went to their shop a couple of times. It's a metaphysical store. I walked in there and one of the workers was, every time I walk in there, they're the one that I'm like, hey, and they're like, hey, and we're friendly towards each other. Other than that, I went to Pagan Pride in 2015, 2016. I went to Pagan Pride. It was fantastic. I can't wait to go again. In LA, there was a smaller turnout than I expected there to be honest, and most of the people that were there came from different counties or different states even. There were very few people there that actually were from LA. I was shocked. And then, yeah, the first meetup was the same. It was Pagan Pride. There are several, open group meetups that are scheduled by Psychic Eye Bookstore that I mentioned earlier. They do classes and workshops, and they also do open gatherings, as I would call it. I don't know how they call it, but I haven't been able to attend one of those because I'm usually very busy during the weekdays, and on the weekends I am trapped. Yeah, I would love to go to those though. I wish that would be a really cool experience. First class or workshop, I haven't really taken any classes or workshops because they cost money most of the time where I'm around, and I would want to go with somebody. I know that sounds kind of silly, but I would want to go with one of my friends, because none of my friends, my close friends, except for one maybe, and even then they're still kind of they just got into it and they're a little bit closeted about it, but none of my friends are really pagan or witchy or all that spiritual, or enough to go with me to a class at least, and I would want to go with somebody. So the next time I'm out at Pride or something, I'm gonna try to find somebody that I can talk to, which is very difficult for someone A, my age, and B, where I live. First chant. What was the first chant you ever learned? I think it was just that circle within a circle with no beginning and never ending. That was my very first one. I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue who sings it, but I can't remember it right now. First method of divination. I believe I touched on this a little bit in my 16 Witchy Questions video as well, but I think children, my first form of divination was basically scrying with the clouds and the stars. Because I think everyone does that in their lives, and I think especially children do that in their lives. But since everyone does that, my answer other than that would be tarot. I got my first tarot deck before I even started on this path, and I've been doing tarot for as long as I've been a witch, and I think that was my first real dip into divination. First tool, I'm not sure if this is the first tool, but it's my athame. If you watched my altar tour, you saw that this is basically just an old letter opener that I already had. So this was my first tool that I used magically. I don't know if y'all can see that. I hope so. It's just, it cuts the same as an athame, so that's what I use it for. I mean, like, if you look behind me, I have a different wand right now, but my first wand was this. I got this at the Renaissance Fair. This was my very first wand. It has the bottom screws off, and it has little ingredients in it, so it has like feathers and crystals and rocks, and I think there's a little bit of liquid or something in there too. But this was my first one that I bought myself. That one my athame I already had, so this is the first thing that I bought myself. It's a wand, and I used it all the time before I made my own one. First energy exercise. So it was the infamous, the all-knowing, the often used ball of energy, and I did that when I was like 5 or something, because I had like a teacher who was really spiritual, and they were like, alright kids, let's do a little exercise with your brains. So we did the little ball of energy, and I thought it was super cool. I was like, wow, this is magical, and it was. Oops, I skipped a question on accident. I always do that with these videos. I always skim and skip questions. I need to learn how to read more carefully. But I skipped question number 3, which was your first spell that you ever did. I believe it was just, my first like ritual spell was just like an honoring deity. It was like when I first got into this, I just lit a candle, cast a circle, and stared up at the moon and just talked, because I didn't know who my matron or patron was at that time. So that was my first like ritualistic kind of communicative spell. But my first like spell was it was a emotional healing spell for one of my friends at the time who was going through some stuff, and they were also going to take a test the next day, so I had a little bit of test good luck into that spell. But yeah, that was my first one. Finally, the last question. What is the most memorable first time, witchy first time, that you have in your brain that is not on this list? And I need to think about that, because I have no idea. I think the camera moved, sorry. My most memorable first that I can think of off the top of my head is my first tarot deck, which is the Dreamer's Journal tarot deck, which I take traveling with me. When I first got this deck, I had before this one a set of 5 or 7 just divination cards. They weren't tarot cards, but they were just fortune-telling cards, I guess, that I got out of a book, and I lost them somewhere. But this is my first real tarot deck, and I'll try to pull a card without messing up the rubber bands, but oh my god. This is my first real tarot deck. It's the Dreamer's Journal Tarot, and that's backwards for me. I hope it's not backwards for you. But the artwork on this deck is really pretty. I like it a lot. They are reversible, so like, this is my very first one. I never connected with the Rider-Waite one, but this card is the Ace of Cups, and this card has been showing up in my life since 2016. It's been showing up since 2016, all over the place. Every time I do a reading for myself, that card is there, and I don't know why, because it's not making any sense. I connected with it immediately. It connected with me immediately. We work really well together. That's why I take it traveling. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.